And then I'll read a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam related to education, and then we can have questions and answers. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupa Sagajata Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Harijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsta Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Varman Sapri Prajakacharya Stotra Satasvi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Satasri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So my dear devotees, I will begin by reading a verse and purport from Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 We read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 6. Prahlad instructs his demoniac schoolmates. Text 1. Shri Praraduvacha. Okay, we can do responsibly. Shri Praraduvacha. Komara acharet pragyo. Dharman Bhagavataniha. Durlabam manusam janma. tadabdruva arthadam tadapyadruvam arthadam. Shri Praraduvacha Komara acharet pragyo Dharman Bhagavataniha Durlabham manusam janma Tad adruvamartadam Shri Praraduvacha. Prahlad Maharaj said, Komara, in the tender age of childhood, Acharet, should practice. Pragya, one who is intelligent. Dharman, occupational duties. Bhagavatan, which are devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Iha, in this life. Durlabham, very rarely attained. Manusam, human. Janma, birth. Tat, that. Api, even. Adruvam, impermanent, temporary. Arthadam, full of meaning. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life, one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. Please repeat. Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved. And although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful. Because in human life, one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The whole purpose of Vedic civilization and of reading the Vedas is to attain the perfect stage of devotional service in the human form of life. According to the Vedic system, therefore, From the very beginning of life, the brahmacharya system is introduced so that from one's very childhood, from the age of 5 years, one can practice modifying one's human activities so as to engage perfectly in devotional service. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 240, Swalpam apyadharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Modern civilization, not referring to the verdicts of Vedic literature, is so cruel to the members of human society that instead of teaching children to become brahmacharis, it teaches mothers to kill their children, even in the womb, on the plea of curbing the increase of population. And if by chance a child is saved, he is educated only for sense gratification. Gradually, throughout the entire world, human society is losing interest in the perfection of life. Indeed, men are living like cats and dogs, spoiling the duration of their human lives by actually preparing to transmigrate again into the degraded species among the 8,400,000 forms of life. The Krishna consciousness movement is anxious to serve human society by teaching people to perform devotional service, which can save a human being from being degraded again to animal life. As already stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Bhagavat Dharma consists of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. In all the schools, colleges, and universities, and at home, all children and youth should be taught to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, they should be taught to hear the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, to put them into practice in their lives, and thus to become strong in devotional service, free from fear of being degraded to animal life. Following Bhagavad Dharma has been made extremely easy in the age of Kali. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, Kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranita. One need only chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Everyone engaged in the practice of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra will be completely cleansed from the core of his heart and be saved from the cycle of birth and death. So, my dear devotees, the Bhaktivedanta Model School is running along the same lines mentioned here, and thus is doing a great service to humanity. And everyone benefits. The students benefit, the teachers benefit, the administrators benefit, everyone benefits because they're engaged in devotional service, which gives pleasure to Srila Prabhupada and the Parampara, and ultimately Krishna. So now you can ask questions or share comments or reflections.
open for questions and answers. Anybody else? Would you have to start?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I have two questions.
One is
Srila Prabhupada very nicely mentions how the children should be trained.
Yes.
And in fact, he also started some gurukulas in those times. So, the question I had in my mind that some of the children who have gone through the Gurukula system do not want to chant or practice Krishna consciousness. So now, some of them must have approached you for guidance or saying their problems. So we want to learn from their journey so that we can avoid similar mistakes in raising our children or in the school, so that we do not reinvent the wheel in making the curriculum, all the activities in the school or at home as parents. So what are those things that come to your mind when you are guiding to such Gurukulis, children who somehow become averse to practice Krishna consciousness? That is my first question. Should I ask second?
Okay. Well, that may be true of some of the students, but definitely not all. Because recently I just met a student, he's a former student in the Gurukul in Vrindavan. And now he's a devotee, and he's aspiring to be initiated by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So he's an example of someone who went through the Gurukul and is practicing Krishna consciousness and is eager to make further advancement. And there are a number like that. But it's true that some went through the Gurukul and then didn't maintain their Krishna consciousness. Of course, there were some unfortunate cases of child abuse, which would definitely be traumatic. But I think overall we've made progress in I was recently in Mayapur and I visited one of the schools there, and they're doing very well. And the students are very happy. It's a day school, but the students are very happy and they're getting a lot out of their Gurukul education in Mayapur. Did you have another question?
Yes, Maharaj. This famous pastime of you with Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada mentions that the organization will grow, organization with intelligence. I'm not wrong, organization with intelligence. Now, school being just a new organization that we are running here, what all things we should take care to ensure that this small organization becomes a very big tree to give shelter to so many children. How should we grow it nicely, the way Srila Prabhupada taught you those days?
Yeah. Well, that incident that you quoted took place 3 days before Srila Prabhupada left. I was taking rest on the rooftop of the Gurukul, and a devotee woke me up in the middle of the night and said, Srila Prabhupada wants to see you. So I went into Srila Prabhupada's room, and he was lying on his bed, and his voice was quite weak. I had to really strain to hear. And Srila Prabhupada asked me, so what do you think? Will this movement go on after I leave? And I replied, yes, if the devotees are sincere and chant their rounds and follow the regulated principles, it will go on. And then Srila Prabhupada said, organization, intelligence and organization. And I thought about the purport of what Srila Prabhupada said, and yes, for our own spiritual advancement, we have to be sincere and chant our rounds and follow the regulated principles, but to spread Krishna consciousness, we need organization and intelligence. So, yeah, as far as our Bhaktivedanta Model School, we seem to be employing organization and intelligence. And it's grown a lot since the beginning, and it will continue to grow. I met some of the boys, they're quite nice, the ones I've met. I'm sure they're all nice. Yeah.
But you are must knowledge. Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, many a times we teachers, we want to remain calm in our mind, but throughout the day we may come across some provocative situations. So how to keep ourselves calm in those situations or in the mode of goodness so that the situation is handled with intelligence and the outcome is correct for our children.
And from where would the provocation come?
Maharaj, any situation, maybe like, especially like I deal with primary section children, where they are in the age group of somewhere between 6 to 11 years old. So someone has just teased, like amongst friends and with their friends, one of the child has teased another child. But it has hurt the emotions of the second child who was being teased, and the child may react with some negative way, either pushing or some bad words. So at those times, and sometimes the situation really it was like too far. So and times like that.
Well, the first thing I would recommend is good attentive japa. That will definitely, prepare you for the day, prepare you for your service, and give you clarity. And you have to be humble and tolerant. But sometimes you have to intervene and correct a student who's misbehaving. But you should do it with sympathy, not out of passion. And Srila Prabhupada said that if correction is offered with sympathy, it's more likely to be accepted. So, we do face challenges in our service. But I really recommend good attentive japa to prepare you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Krishna Maharaj. I'm not a teacher in BMS, but I have a question. You said about organization and intelligence. So even for our spiritual life growth, we need to organize. So many of times, I mean 90% of the time I experience this that I know what is to be done. It's like two personalities. I know I have to reach there, but I'm unable to bridge the gap. So I'm struggling a lot in fulfilling to the idealistic person that we have to be or how we have to practice our day, be it organizing the career or organizing in spiritual life. I just wanted your guidance to bridging this gap.
Well, again, attentive japa is helpful. And also, Srila Prabhupada said that 90% of Krishna consciousness is association. So associating with mature, experienced, sympathetic devotees will help. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami enumerates 64 items of devotional service. And he says that out of the 64, 5 are most potent, and even a slight association with any one of the 5 can awaken dormant love for Krishna. And the 5 are Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtana, Bhagavat Shravana, Mathuravasa, and Murti Shradanvita Sevana. And he gives a very specific definition of Sadhu Sangha. Of course, in a general sense, it means associating with devotees. But his exact definition is Swajati Ashaye Snigde Sadhu Sangha Soto Vare. So Swajatiya, in the literal sense, would mean in the same caste or community. In our context, it would mean followers of Srila Prabhupada. And Snigde means the sadhu should be affectionate to you. And Satovare means the sadhu should be more advanced than you. So that type of sadhu sangha will help you, bridge the gap so that you can do what you know you need to do and should do and want to do. And another thing Srila Prabhupada said, I'm not sure how relevant it is, but he said that good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I'm just as a volunteer, I'm raising some funds. So during my meeting with people, we get to meet people who are not at all devotional. Various spectrum, not devotional at all. They are having different concepts of devotion. They are practicing different things. Now, in just this verse itself, we saw like the devotional service should start at the tender age. It's very difficult to grasp for other people, right? And then when we are saying we are working with BMS, like at BMS we are practicing or making students to develop that character along with the devotion. So my question is, how can we put it best for these people so that they will understand? Ultimately, they will be benefited also by giving some donation to this cause. And ultimately it is helping Krishna service also. So how can we make them understand this aspect.
You're talking about potential donors?
Yes, so we are raising funds for this construction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have a noble cause, and in the presentation we were shown before we began, we saw the difference between the current trends in material education and what is being done here at BMS. And to me, it would be a very convincing argument for donations, because you know the students in the regular schools, so to speak, are, you know, end up by and large developing very bad habits which are destructive and harmful to themselves. So I think it's a very worthy cause for people to donate to. And yeah, I don't know if you show them something like what we saw here, but it's like very convincing. And they benefit spiritually by, it's devotional service, so they benefit spiritually by donating. Yeah.
My question is, what are the common mistakes parents do, for example, forcing the children that can be avoided, and what are the things that can be followed to make our next generation love Krishna?
So I couldn't follow what you said.
What are the mistakes parents should avoid, and what are the good things they should do so that children will love Krishna?
Well, one year we had some children of devotees visiting us at our ashram in California. And we asked them what their parents did or didn't do that led to their taking up the practice of Krishna consciousness. And there were two of them, and they both said the same thing, that their parents themselves did everything. They were perfect examples of devotees, but they didn't force their children to do anything. And the children themselves, by the good example of the parents, and of course, you know, the parents should be, you know, loving and caring to their children. The children shouldn't feel that Krishna consciousness has made their parents cold or distant. But yeah, that's what they said. Their parents did everything themselves. They were perfect examples of devotees, but they didn't force them to do anything.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, our children, when they associate with the children, those who are not brought up in such culture, devotee culture. So apparently the children outside are much more smart by the way, modern ways that they have adapted in their life and exposure to media. And our children are in Sattva Guna. So when they associate with them, sometimes they have this feeling of, they don't feel that much confident. And also they, so they feel less confident in their company. So Maharaj, how can we instill that confidence in our children about their culture and their upbringing that they are getting?
Does that apply especially to children of a certain age group? Or
Maharaj, teenage and above, that is the time when they become aware of their friends, circles, surrounding, that starts impacting them. Teenage, when they hit the teenage and above that.
yeah. So what do they think their friends have or their friends can do that they don't have or they can't do?
Maharaj, because of the, the movies and other things that they see outside children. The way they talk, the way they dress, and the attitude that they carry is very much relevant to current times, and people actually appreciate such attitude nowadays. That has been appreciated everywhere. And then our children, because they have grown up in a Sattva-guni atmosphere, they do not have that, charisma as such, the so-called charisma that they carry in their personality. And they are more like, they have these values of accepting their friends and being, cooperate with everyone. And so, the boys outside, they are like, they debate or argue or debate. So sometimes they may feel less confident in their company, the way they talk, the way they dress themselves, and the way they carry themselves.
Well, that probably applies in all contexts, that some people are more confident and self-assured than others. I mean, that would be among devotees and also among non-devotees. I mean, as far as watching movies, I'm thinking of two devotee families who they would take their children to movies so that they didn't feel like deprived, and then they would discuss the movies with their children from a philosophical point of view, and they felt it's better that they accompany their children to the movies. Otherwise, eventually the children will go to the movies anyway, somehow or other. So it's better they go with the parents, that way they don't have to sneak out. So it's better that it's done in a straightforward way, and it's also good that the parents are there to help them process it through the perspective of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. it's tricky to, but, that's what they did, and it made sense to me.
Just a continuation of the same question. So, as parents and teachers, how do we know our boundaries? I mean, how much exposure should be given and how much there should be stopped? So that we create a balance between both the things, the spiritual and the other aspect.
Well, it's important that the children have devotee friends and peers, and I don't know here, I know in Dallas, the school has field trips where the students go different places and see different things. And that's good, they get exposed and they learn, but they're with their teachers and classmates who are children of devotees. So they have good association during the experience. So they will have to be exposed to things in the world, and it's good if they get the exposure in the association of devotee guardians and friends. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to know what, once the children graduate out of our school, some of them who don't want to, continue chanting, or some of them don't even, want to follow no onion, no garlic, and things like that. So what kind of advice should we give them? We just say it's okay and do what is practical, do what you want.
What kind of advice should you give to who?
Children who graduate out of our school,
Yeah.
and later on, in their college life, they don't want to follow the practices of spiritual life, like chanting or food without onion, garlic,
Well, the real point of no onion and garlic is that we want to eat only Krishna Prasad. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that those who prepare food just for their own bodily nourishment verily eat only sin. And those who eat food which is the remnants offered of offerings and sacrifice, they become liberated from sins. So we don't take onion and garlic because we can't offer food to Krishna that has onion or garlic. And somehow it's important they understand the benefit of taking prasad and the consequences of eating food which is not offered. It requires good training and education so that they really understand why we do certain things. And if they understand the reason and the benefit, then they can carry it into their lives after they graduate. I mean, there may be social pressure after they graduate, but they should be strong enough in their convictions that they don't succumb to the social pressure when it's contrary to our principles, important principles. It's difficult. It's difficult. But still, if they have a good philosophical understanding of why we do what we do and why we don't do what we don't do, they can maintain their principles even after they graduate. Yes, a microphone here.
It might appear a very silly question. There's a lot of confusion between parents that some feel that chocolates that contain cocoa should be eaten, and some say that it should not be eaten. So what should be done? Because children come and ask us whether we are supposed to eat it or no. Sorry to ask you such a silly question.
I mean, as a rule, we shouldn't eat it. Once an officer or someone from the Cadbury chocolate company visited our temple in Juhu, and he asked whether we eat chocolate. And we said, well, we don't really eat chocolate. And he said, that's good, because chocolate has some sort of addictive properties. So, as a rule, we don't. But then one guru told me that someone who was not his disciple asked for his picture. And so that guru asked why he wanted his picture. And he said, because my guru doesn't eat chocolate, but I want to eat chocolate, so I want to have, and I know you do, so I want to have your picture so I can offer the chocolate to you. So, and we have carob, which can sort of be a substitute for chocolate. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, at BMS I am serving as a sports instructor.
Sorry?
I am serving as a sports instructor.
You're serving?
As a sports instructor.
Sports instructor.
Yes. So my question is that how can we give spirituality to our children while taking physical activities?
because it is fully on body level, and at ISKCON we say that we are not this body, we are soul. So how we can connect to this and give children spirituality?
Yes, we're not the body, we're the soul, but we want to keep the body fit for serving Krishna. And so exercise helps. What do they do? What do you have them do?
Yes, mainly I conduct rope Mallakhambh and gymnastics.
What was the first thing?
Mallakhambh, it is traditional sports of India.
Whereas the children learn how to perform yoga on a rope, which is
Oh.
like a height.
Oh.
Picture like it's on like
Oh, yeah.
a girl and
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it comes to keeping the body fit for serving Krishna. And part of it is yoga. Well, that's good. Yoga is good for health. Yeah. Yeah, I think the main point is that we want to keep the body fit for serving Krishna. Obviously not for enjoying sense gratification. So those practices are good.
Any more questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, ISKCON is of course part of the spiritual world of our body. The members are all evolving their spiritual relationship with Krishna, and sometimes they are, including me, we can't be the ideal that is represented in the scripture or what we represent to the children. And sometimes the children see that conflict between what we are seeing as a society and what we are doing as a society, especially when they grow up, and it hurts them a lot. So how do we teach them to be realistic and accept that we are all evolving, we are on a journey? Because they like to see that the seniors in the society carry the values that we are speaking about.
Yeah, we should practice what we preach. There's a story that a mother brought her child to Mahatma Gandhi and said, my child eats too many sweets. Please tell my child not to eat so many sweets. So Gandhiji said, come back in 2 weeks. So the mother brought the child back in 2 weeks, and Gandhiji said, don't eat so many sweets. So the mother said, well, why didn't you tell him when I brought him the first time? Why did you wait for 2 weeks? And Gandhiji said, well, at that time I was eating sweets myself, so I couldn't really tell him not to eat sweets. So in these 2 weeks I stopped eating sweets, so now I could tell him. So, yeah, we have to practice what we preach, and exemplify our ideals. Yeah, if we're sincere, I think that students will see that. You know, even if we're not perfect.
Maharaj, actually, how do we teach them how to be realistic about spiritual life without minimizing what we are giving them? You know, sometimes we tend to say, it's okay, you can't do it in the morning, or I do it in the afternoon. So sometimes it feels like a minimization, but sometimes it's just practical. You know, in their situation, they're in hostels, they're living outside, especially those who graduate. So sometimes we have to tell them things like that also. So is that okay or not okay? I mean, we give them the idea and say, okay, you can do this. Is that okay?
Give them the idea that it's okay.
That it's best to chant in the morning, but because they've been studying all night and they really can't do it in the morning, they're sleepy, they're groggy, they have classes to go to.
Well, I usually ask people what time they get up in the morning, which is also related to what time they go to sleep at night. So definitely, it is better if they chant in the morning. But if their circumstances, I mean, chanting is good any time, but it's better in the morning. So I would ask them, you know, when do you take rest? When do you get up in the morning? Encourage them to chant in the morning. Because not only is the chanting better in the morning generally, but it will help the day go better if they chant in the morning. So it's beneficial both ways.
Maharaj, many of the children, because you know, there are so many things in society that are also working on them. You know, family structures breaking down, working styles. The mothers are more outside than at home. Mental well-being is also becoming a very important question.
What's becoming?
Mental well-being. Mental well-being.
Yeah.
And you know, so many of the habits that they develop as they grow up are rooted in, you know, childhood traumas, different situations that they've been through, their experiences. So, is it all right if we tell them that they can go to counselors to help them sort out their problems instead of just saying chant Hare Krishna? Is that okay?
Yes, you can. There was one devotee in Juhu during Prabhupada's time, and she like became paranoid schizophrenic, and her father was quite a well-placed person, and so he wanted to know if he could get her some medical treatment for her mental disorder. So I asked Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada said that just like you can have a broken arm, but it doesn't affect your position as a devotee. So similarly, you could have a broken mind, so to speak, but it doesn't necessarily affect your position as a devotee. He said, I know the girl, and she's a devotee. And so her father took her for this medical treatment, and it helped her. She was able to function afterwards. Yeah, there are fortunately a number of good devotee counselors and psychiatrists. And I refer devotees to them. Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening so patiently and attentively. And for asking such good, pertinent questions.
Don't mind, we can have a group photography tomorrow.
Fine.